In today's tutorial, we're going to be doing this hyper-realistic bottle cap in Polychromos colored pencils. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michelle Moreus, and I create art tutorials that are fun, easy, and accessible for everyone. Before you start out, you want to have a nice, accurate sketch. You want to sharpen all your colored pencils, and you want to map out which colors you're going to use before you sit down to draw. This way, it will speed up your process as you're going along. You don't have to keep going back into your set to find the perfect colors. You've already mapped them out ahead of time. You want to choose the right paper for the medium that you're going to use. In this case, I'm using a Strathmore 400 series Bristol smooth paper. This lends itself really well to the Polychromos oil-based pencils. You want to start out using really light layers. Colored pencil is always done best when done in light layers. This way you will have a lot of tooth of the paper as you get farther along in the drawing to put in any of the details that you're going to have in the piece. So start with light layers, and you're going to build up gradually as you go along and deepen up those shades and get a really hyper-realistic finish at the end. So you don't want to just use one color. You want to go in and you want to layer those colors to get a really rich end product. When you're doing a drawing like this, it's really important to get your lettering pretty precise, because that is really the identifiable mark on the bottle cap. So you want to make sure that the lettering is pretty precise. This will give you a more believable end product and make it look more hyper realistic. You don't have to get too crazy with it. I'm going around with a nice sharp pencil so you can really get a crisp lettering done. But we can always go over this with a jelly roll pen if you get a little bit too overzealous with your pencil marks and go into the drawing. With the light layers, you'll still be able to pick it out with an eraser or an electric eraser, but you can always go over it with a jelly roll pen or a acrylic white paint to crisp up those letters as you go along. So I'm on my second coat of colored pencil now, and I'm adding in some more red. We started with an orangey base tone, and we're adding in some deeper shades now to crisp up the clean line of the round cap. So we're going in now with a little bit deeper shades, and we're just going to keep building on that until we get a nice smooth finish so it looks shiny and really nice and smooth. The Polychromos color pencils blend beautifully together, and the more layers you put down, the smoother the look is going to be, especially on this Bristol paper. So you want to keep going in with light layers, and you're going to eventually increase the pressure, which is going to smush all of those oil-based pencil layers together, and you're going to get a really nice clean line and clean, smooth blends. So this way you're not going to see the little white specks of the paper showing through, and you're going to get a nice smooth blend. I'll reference in the card above my blending color pencil video for the beginners, so you can check that out, and that might help you along your journey in this drawing. To help blend it out and get rid of the white specks of the paper, we're going to just go in with a tiny little bit of OMS, or odorless mineral spirits, on a small brush. A little bit goes a long way. So we're going in now with just a little bit of OMS, and you can see it makes the colors much more vibrant. So I'm just going in and blending that out just a tiny little bit, and then we're going to go let it dry, and then we're going to go back in with more colored pencil. It's important to let it dry in between the odorless mineral spirits, because your pencils will just start melting in the mineral spirits if it's too wet. So you want to let it dry for at least about 10 minutes in between using that, and we're just using a tiny little bit of it. So we let it dry, and we're going to go back in over with our colored pencils I'm being careful to pay attention to where my light source is coming from, so you do have a little bit of a shine, and that's going to play a part in the shadow that we're putting in now underneath. You always want to use a high quality reference image. When you're taking your photos, make sure you have a direct light source, and you can change the lighting onto different sides to get the best effect that you want to get. And then you want to pick the most high contrast photo that you can for a hyper realistic drawing. That's going to give you the most drama, to have a nice highlight and a nice deep dark shadow. You'll see from time to time I have a kind of fluffy makeup brush that I use to brush away the color pencil crumbs that get on the paper. As you gradually increase the pressure, it leaves a little bit of color pencil dust, and you want to get rid of that because you will be dragging it around the paper. And then I also use a kneaded eraser, and from time to time I'll go and erase around the drawing to make sure that I don't have any of those little crumbs that are going to mess up the background of the drawing. So from time to time, just give it a little cleanup in between as you're going along, and you'll have much more success in the end. If you leave all those little crumbs on the paper, you're going to drag them around, and it's going to really kind of smudge and mess up your background. We have some really good base layers going down now. So now we're gonna push our values. And when I say push the values, I mean darken up all of your shadowy areas, start adding in all of your detail now, and make sure that you keep your highlights bright and your deep dark shadows are dark enough. So you want to use a full range of values. You want to have everything from the lightest value, the midtones, and then your dark values. And you don't want to stop too soon. You want to keep pushing those values, because that's what makes the drawing really pop and really start to look real hyper realistic. So you want to keep going. Don't quit too soon. Keep going and add in all your details. Coca-Cola is such a huge name, but not everybody knows it was invented in 1886 by a pharmacist named John Stith Pemberton. And at the time, it was made with cocoa leaves and a small amount of cocaine with cola nuts, which added caffeine. So it had a stimulative effect, and therefore was sold in pharmacies as a healthy tonic. The pharmacist's bookkeeper, Frank Robinson, chose the name of the drink and named it Coca-Cola, which is the trademark that we see today. It was his script that became the iconic Coke trademark. The name of it came from the added caffeine and the cola nuts, which gave it the stimulative properties. In 1903, the cocaine was removed from the formula, and the syrup was sold to local soda fountains and became phenomenally successful. Coca-Cola is sold in every country in the world except two, North Korea and Cuba. The brand name Coca-Cola is the third most valuable brand in the world, with an estimated value of $74 billion, far more than Pepsi, Budweiser, Red Bull, and Starbucks combined. With over 105 million fans on Facebook, Coca-Cola is one of the world's most famous brands on social media. Every single day, more than 1.9 billion servings of Coca-Cola are consumed all over the world. That might be why Coca-Cola is the second most understood word in the entire world. The first one would be okay. Now that we've learned a little bit about the Coca-Cola company, we'll get back to our drawing here, and hopefully you've been able to follow along. If you're enjoying the tutorial, please give me a thumbs up, hit the like button, leave me a comment below, and I'll be sure to get back to each and every one of you. I really enjoy hearing from you. It makes my heart happy, and it makes me feel closer to you guys, that I can have some conversation with you in the comment section. I really enjoy hearing from you guys, and I look forward to that part of my day every morning when I have my coffee and I read my comments. And it would really mean the world to me if you guys would consider subscribing to my channel It keeps me doing what I'm doing and bringing these free tutorials to you on YouTube. So now we're going to give it a little bit of a cleanup, and we're going to reassess our drawing here. So I'm referring back to my reference image, making sure that I've got all of my values represented correctly. I'm cleaning up the lettering a little bit here, and we're just going to push the values as far as we can go. We're going to deepen up our shadows and just really give it a good once over. And this way, we're sure that we've got enough down. We have a really believable drawing and something that you can be proud of. I've done a fairly good job of keeping my lettering pretty good, but I'm going to go over it with a little bit of a jelly roll pen just to sharpen it up a little bit, keep it real crisp white, and just kind of clean up that lettering and make it a little bit thicker and a little bit more readable. So this is what I was speaking about in the beginning, how you can go over it with that jelly roll, or in this case I'm using an acrylic paint pen. A few last minute adjustments, adding a little more depth in those shadows in the crimped part of the cap, and we're on our way to the end of the drawing. I'm going to leave a link at the end of the video for some other hyper-realistic drawing tutorials that I have, as well as a couple of playlists that might interest you in color pencil. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and happy art!